This is the Truth Network.
Coming to you from an entrenched barricade deep in the heart of central North Carolina. Masculine Journey After Hours. A time to go deeper and be more transparent on the topic covered on this week's broadcast. So sit back and join us on this adventure. The Masculine Journey After Hours starts here now.
Welcome to this adventure with us. This is Masculine Journey After Hours, and we are talking about the topic of adventure. We are continuing our Foundation series, which will go on for much longer than you probably want it to, but we are going to do it from now until we don't. But we are talking about adventure, and so when we left off, we were getting ready to go to Robbie's clip. And so, Robbie, you want to tell us a little bit about your clip, or do you just want to play it?
Well, before we do that, you want to say you might want to go back and listen to the radio show podcast if you hadn't, if you just jumped into this.
Yeah.
You know, because an adventure to live is a gigantic one of the core desires of a man's heart, because it's obviously a gigantic core desire in God's heart. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at Jesus as the ultimate man. And, you know, we talked about last time a battle to fight. And so it's fascinating to me. Oh, yeah. You probably want me to.
Yeah, I'm tired of it being on me. Yeah. We want them to see you, Robbie, as you articulate your powerful point punctually.
PowerPoint.
Yes. Anyway, so I've done this talk many, many times and love this talk and love the idea that we have this heart because God has this heart. And I love the idea of little boys' adventure. But in this adventure clip, I just felt called to take something out of the movie Fury. And it's one of my son's favorite movies, and so I guess it's always been one of mine. And there's a scene there that you're going to hear that there's a guy by the name of Norman, and throughout the movie, he gets transferred into this tank battalion. I don't know what he was supposed to do in the Army, but he wasn't supposed to be in a tank. He was supposed to be a telegraph operator or something. And the next thing you know, he finds himself in this tank, not only as the tank, but he's a gunner in the tank. And he's got a lot of adventure that he's going to be taught that he has what it takes, which is adventure. You know, the reason why boys play at the level they do is they're trying to learn that they, you know, have what it takes to be a man, have what it takes to protect, you know, their families, et cetera. So Norman has been learning this process throughout. Now, their tank, unfortunately, the movie Fury is about this tank battalion, the tank guys, and their Sherman tank is broken at the middle of this crossroads. In, you know, they're heading into Germany out of France, I believe, is where they were, and he's set out ahead because the tank's broken. They want to see if anybody's coming, and what he sees is this huge battalion all coming towards him, about 300 men and some stuff. He comes running down to, you know, the tank commander to explain what's going on. You're going to hear that, and then what you're missing as you listen to this, the tank battalion guy is standing on the tank, and he ain't going anywhere. But he pretty much clarifies to the other men, hey, I understand if you want to save your lives. I'm not commanding you to stay here with me. But then you kind of see what happens as they're called into an adventure, but it's also a battle to fight.
Slow down.
They're coming right now.
Who's coming?
The Germans.
How many?
Oh, too many to count.
How many?
I got two, maybe 300 of them. They got vehicles too.
Tanks?
No, just trucks.
A bunch of bums looking to surrender, that's all.
No. They were marching, they were singing, they sounded like they wanted to fight.
They were singing?
Where? I'm telling you. Right over there.
Hey, you hear that?
MSS Battalion.
Look, it's about to be dark. Just get on up out of here, huh? Let them pass on through.
Let's hit them woods. Go get your pack. Let's go.
We ain't never run before, I ain't running now.
What's that?
We're gonna fight it out.
We can't.
I'm gonna hold this crossroad.
What you mean you're gonna hold this? The tank's busted. The tank's busted, Top.
Yeah, you said that.
Top, what are you doing? What do you want to do? You want to sit here?
We're gonna hold this
crossroad. You want to sit here, hold off the SS Battalion?
No, it's not what I want to do, but it's what we're doing.
There's 5 of us.
Get your fighting position.
Mount up.
Fucking fighting positions when we ain't gotta tell you how we gonna fight.
We got a cannon.
No, that don't make sense.
Stop! What are you doing?
Get out of here. Get to that tree line. Boys, take care of yourselves. Get to that tree line. It's all right.
It's all right.
It's my home.
staying here with you.
I'll need you to load. Boys, get on. It's all right.
Grady, come on. We're gonna stay. What is your plan?
Get us one of them dead crows.
And so essentially their choosing is almost like a death mission. And you can see that Norman, who's the first one that says he'll help, is everybody else is experienced in this tank. They've got tons of experience, definitely know what they have it takes. But Norman steps up and says, no, I'm going to stay. And as a result of the bravery of the two men, they all stay. And then, obviously they're looking for a plan, and they're on the adventure. And so he takes one of the dead Germans, lights him up, puts him on in front of the tank like it's, been, decimated or whatever. It's quite a movie. You ought to go watch it. But anyway, when I saw this clip, it's about 6 minutes long. And what you hear edited there is down to about 1 minute and 59 seconds. So it took a lot of editing, especially because the music in it requires that you can't just do clean cuts. So I had it in my heart to do this clip. I spent about 2 hours doing it. I do radio for a living, and it takes a lot of work. But I say that only to say I had a lot invested in the clip. At the point in time I looked at it and I went, wait a minute, this isn't an adventure to live clip. This is a battle to fight clip. And then as I was sitting there processing all the work that I'd done and thought about it, I went, wow, there's a connection to a battle to fight and an adventure to live that, anybody that clearly is fighting for their life, as Danny described in the last show, is on an adventure, right? And there's high risk. And the thing of it is that one of the biggest understandings I had at one point in time as I was doing this talk was that God is a risky God. Like, he's so risky, he gave Andy free will.
That's so scary.
It is very scary.
But he did it to Adam first. So.
Yeah. However it works, but he gave Robbie Dilmore free will. That's pretty scary. But nonetheless, when you think about all the things that he came to Earth, and one of the largest assaults on evil that has ever happened, in fact, it isn't one of, it is the largest assault on evil that ever happened. In other words, when you look at that's definitely in it. But so much of what little boys are training for, and as far as an adventure, the reason why they jump their bike so high, the reason why they go so fast on the motorcycle, all these things are preparing for, something supernatural that God is going to call them into. And they were meant to. And I think that's such an understanding myself of the masculine journey, that we were meant to do this. And so if we sit home, like in the movie Adventure Tyler that we, Cry Wolf, because we're south of 60th parallel and watching the boob tube, bored to death. Because we were meant, and then you end up with all these false comforters because you were meant for adventure. You weren't meant to live somebody else's adventure in a movie. You were meant to live your own adventure and do it with Dad. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Grant, you had something you want to
Grant, did you want to say something?
At least the boys want to learn.
Yeah, the boys do want to learn, and there's valuable lessons. All right, so just when you're a young kid and you get the bike and you're going to jump something, there's a lesson no matter whether you make the jump or don't make the jump, because you have to push yourself to the point saying, I'm willing to risk it. That's what you're talking about, right? And there's many, many times in your life you have to get to that point and say, I don't know how the outcome's going to come out, but I got to be willing to risk it, right? And that's where faith steps in. That's where the walk with God steps in. Maybe not in the jump, but it's in the preparing you for the other risks down the road that you're going to have to take. It's in that learning that the boy needs to do.
Yeah, in this journey with his cancer, there's lots of fatigue and stuff like that. Well, my son and his friends invited me to play golf Saturday, which was an off chemo week, and I had battled through some fatigue. But when I accepted, of course, the wife, Michelle, goes, takes a deep breath, because nobody knows what's going to happen. Here's a guy who's been on chemo for now 3 months, who is got stage 4 cancer, and he's going out in the heat to play golf. And of course, even the guys, but it was part of it was the adventure of it all. Do I have what it takes? Mm-hmm. And the answer to that was yes. I felt better after the golf game than I did before.
Right.
And because to fight fatigue, ironically, activity is best. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, absolutely. Now, Harold, do you have the next clip? Do you want to say anything about it before we play it?
Yeah, this is where Gandalf is coming to Bilbo to recruit him on an adventure. And as you'll hear, Bilbo's not necessarily in the same vein as Gandalf. So if you play it, then I'll tell why I picked it.
This is from The Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey.
Right.
Good morning.
What do you mean? Do you mean to wish me a good morning, or do you mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not? Or perhaps you mean to say that you feel good on this particular morning? Or are you simply stating that this is a morning to be good on?
All of them at once, I suppose. Can I help you?
That remains to be seen. I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure.
An adventure? No, I don't imagine anyone west of Bree would have much interest in adventures. Nasty, disturbing, uncomfortable things. Make you late for dinner. Good morning.
To think that I should have lived to be good morning by Belladonna Took's son, as if I were selling buttons at the door.
Beg your pardon?
You've changed, and not entirely for the better, Bilbo Baggins.
I'm sorry, do I know you?
Well, you know my name, although you don't remember I belong to it. I'm Gandalf. And Gandalf means... me.
Not Gandalf, the wandering wizard who made such excellent fireworks. Oh, Took used to have them on Midsummer's Eve. No idea you were still in business.
And where else should I be? Well, I'm pleased to find you remember something about me. Even if it's only my fireworks. Well, that's decided. It'll be very good for you. And most amusing for me. I shall inform the others.
Inform the who? What? No, wait. We do not want any adventures here. Thank you. Not today. No. I suggest you try over the hill or...
The reason I picked that is because... Danny kind of stole my thunder a little bit earlier in the first broadcast. Sometimes you go seeking adventure, but sometimes adventure comes seeking you.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be prepared and be ready to accept some of those adventures, because especially if we can see that it's coming from God, then we need to be ready to jump in and go on that adventure. Adventure is something that is not just for little boys. You mentioned earlier about speeding, and as a senior citizen, when I was riding my motorcycle, sweetheart, close your ears, you don't want to hear this, but I got above 90 once just because I wanted to see what it was like. And so I was on my bike, and I got not too far above 90, but it's a scary thing when you're on a 2-lane road going 90 or whatever, and realizing what could happen to you if a tire blows or whatever. So it's not just youngsters. Sometimes even us old folks are seeking adventure.
Absolutely.
Get their motor running.
Yeah. Step out on that highway. Yeah.
Looking for adventure?
If God calls you on an adventure, there's comfort in that, but there's also uncertainty, right? Because it's always something bigger than you can do yourself, or he wouldn't call you on it, right? He's not going to call you to something that you're already equipped to do. And I think that's what people think is like, well, I can't do that. No, you're right. You can't. God can, but he's calling you to be along with him in the adventure. right? And so I think that's a big part of it is when I feel reluctant to go, it means I probably should go. You know, if I know God's calling me and I have reluctancy, that's on me. And I got to just say, okay, God, I trust you more than I trust the situation I'm stepping into. But Andy, you have the next clip.
I do. So this is from Field of Dreams, and it's the trailer. And I'm just
you rarely use trailers, Andy.
I hate it. I hate doing it every time I do it because they're so visual, and you get all these different, quotes or statements through them or whatever, and you can't really put the story together. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of the movie. Is Ray Kinsella, living in Iowa, kind of lost focus on getting his dreams. He didn't ever know his dad. And so all of a sudden, these mysterious, whatever. These different kind of people come into his life, and they're like angels kind of leading him through this story where he goes on a road trip.
Mysterical angels, too.
All right, get out of here. I'm trying to make a point. Not quite to the clip, but basically it's really God bringing in this mystery into his life to lead him to back to his father. And he builds this baseball field that allows his dad and who he played ball with to come back and play. And I guess when I'm thinking about risk, it's not only doing things where you don't know the outcome of, but there's a certain mystery in it, and there's a pull. That's like reading a book that you don't, you don't read the end and then understand everything that happened. You have to read it page by page, and God takes us on this mystery, this story, this journey of our life. And I've become, let's play the clip and I'll talk more about that.
That's okay. Here we go.
I have just created something totally illogical.
That's what I like about it.
If you build it, he will come. If you build it, he will come.
If you build what, who will come?
You didn't say.
I hate it when that happens.
Me too.
Who's hearing voices?
Ray is. I think I know what "if you build it, he will come" means.
Ooh, why do I not think this is such a good thing?
Daddy, there's a man out there on your lawn. Are you a ghost?
What do you think?
You look real to me.
Hi! You couldn't see it.
This is really interesting.
You believed in the magic. It happened. Isn't that enough?
Annie, it's more than that. I feel it as strongly as I've ever felt anything in my life. There's a reason.
Go the distance.
Did you hear the voice too? Did you hear it?
Go the distance.
Yes.
Our Grave is dead. He died in 1972.
Are you Moonlight Graham?
No one's called me Moonlight Graham in 50 years.
Unbelievable.
It's more than that. It's perfect.
You build a baseball field in the middle of nowhere, and you sit here and you stare at nothing.
This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good.
Hey, is this heaven?
No. It's Iowa.
Sometimes, when you believe the impossible, the incredible comes true. Field of Dreams.
Yeah, so there's just a story of adventure in there, and there's so many things. You can get adventure from watching Braveheart or, a lot of the war movies and stuff, but that is just a simple thing of something that I can compare to my own life in the fact that my dad took me on a road trip when he knew he was leaving the state after him and Mom split up, and made an impression on me that I hadn't thought about. It was dormant for many years. And whenever I really started delving into the masculine journey message, I started getting opportunities to travel with my job. And one of the first times out, I went to the Grand Tetons in Yellowstone. And I just spent some time really kind of saturating myself with this message, listened to a bunch of podcasts, and really God became a father to me. Shortly thereafter, I just began to really go after that, and everybody knows it here. And Danny was talking about it, and Robbie, about, how you find, we go on these adventures with our Father. I think adventure loses its appeal if you don't do it with somebody. And one could say a lot of these things I don't do it with anybody because I go by myself, because a lot of times through work and stuff I will be by myself. But I don't go by myself. I'm not alone. And I've experienced some amazing things through it. Like this last couple weeks ago, I've been to real quick. I was going through Salt Lake City Airport one time, and I was just passing through, and I saw all these beautiful pictures of the state of Utah, and I was like, man, I want to go there. And I was really open to this beauty thing. Well, since then, I've got to go back like 3 or 4 different times, and I've hit all the national parks there and really enjoyed it. And through that time, it's like God. It was kind of like this. It was kind of like God leading me, showing something appealing to me in this beauty and this adventure. And then I've been able to go back, and I've just experienced Him in so many different ways. I've told a lot of people. I've told it on the air many, many times. But that is just something, God has adventures that's unique to all His kids. That's mine, is road trips. But, this last time I went to Monument Valley and Capitol Reef, and then Zion and Bryce, all in the same trip, and some other stuff too. And I was really busy the whole time, just really having to move. But I was experiencing Him the whole time and feeling led. And it's even with my daughter, one of the things that I thought about when in her, I don't know, right, I guess she was probably 18 or 19, she'd say, hey, Dad, I heard about this thing where you flip a coin. You get to an end of a road and you flip a coin, you go either way. I was like, yeah, I think that we ought to call that, get lost. And we started doing that and ended up who knows where. There was an adventure in that, and it was a road trip thing. So, there's a variety of ways you can interact with God. And what it has done in my life, it has opened my heart up to where I am willing to risk and to step into those things that I would not do. We talk about casual adventure as being like these adventures, like I'm talking about a road trip, crucial adventure where you're providing for your family, you're stepping up and helping the people around you, and then the critical adventure, your ministry. And I think all of them feed in together, but you've got to have the casual adventure, I think, to fuel a lot of that. And it opens me up to where I believe in these other things. They're all important, I believe, and God creates us in such a way we need to be experiencing all of them.
Yeah, when I went through my divorce, I had told my pastor, who's a good friend of mine, I'm like, look, there may be some Sundays you don't see me. Mm-hmm. And he understood, because I knew there were going to be times. I love my church and I love the people at my church, but there are times God calls me to go on a hike or to go fishing or go do something, because I need that outside time with Him that you only get when you hear nature, when you experience it. I don't even have to catch fish. I prefer to, but it's just being there and having that time alone. And it's really nice just to say, okay, God, what are we doing today? And some days will be, hey, you're going to church. Other days it's like, hey, we're going to go do this, right? And just being free to go do that and walk that time with God. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's importance of community, but the first community starts with you in the Trinity, right? That's your original community.
One of the amazing things about that clip, that really highlighted, maybe more so than any other clip I know of, is that if you go to a boot camp, you're going to have something called a covenant of silence, where you're to hear from God, right? And throughout the movie, he's hearing not just one message from God. Yeah. He's hearing other messages from God, and he hears those messages. He goes on that adventure, right? Mm-hmm. And, that is one of the boot camp things. Like that, I don't know of a guy that didn't come away from a boot camp that I knew well that God didn't speak to in some way. My own brother's salvation was a result of that particular adventure that he took with his grandson. But as you can see from Andy, you get so so enthusiastic that you become sort of hysterical.
Hysterical.
You do. It's mysterical experience.
Mysterious hysteria, right?
Yeah. What you said. I'm sure there's a really long word Jim could tell us.
It was really difficult. Yeah, right.
And laugh afterwards.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we do like to make fun of each other.
You better
and
jump
have
on
fun.
your clip.
No, I don't. I have time for my clip, so it's fine. What my clip was, it was from Shrek, and if you've seen Shrek, there's a famous part in Shrek where Donkey's all in, and he jumps into the house. He says, "Hey, I'm going to make waffles," and Shrek just kicks him out of the house. And so the point that was making for me in that whole clip was, there are times God will call you on an adventure, and you're confident this is the adventure He's calling you on. Donkey was confident he was supposed to spend some time with Shrek. He was supposed to go on an adventure with Shrek, right? But it wasn't the right timing, and it wasn't within his control. It wasn't the way he wanted it done. It was the way it was going to play out. Yep. And so that's happened in my life. When I went to my first boot camp in 2002, I knew in my heart I wanted to do boot camps. And so I just sat there, okay, God, you laid this on my heart. I believe this came from you. Yep. And so I'm going to chart off, and I'm going to head out, and I'm going to pick all the people that's going to do a boot camp with me. And so I literally, and I started that book at home. I have all these names.
Yeah.
I was going to give them the book Wild at Heart, then we were going to talk about it, and then we were going to do boot camps together. I don't know that any of them ever read that book, except for maybe one guy. Right. And it never happened. And I started to get dejected, and I saw other people doing the camps. And so fast forward to 2007, I moved to North Carolina, listened to God, go on an adventure, and moved down here, lose my job in 2009. And within about 4 days, I get a call about, hey, would you like to do a boot camp from a guy I'd never met before? Right, a guy named Darren, and that's part of our foundational story that we'll talk about in the beginnings, when we get to that. But you can't chart off ahead of God. You have to continue that walk with Him, because when you chart off ahead, it may not work out, right, the way that it's supposed to. Go to masculinejourney.org to register for boot camp. We'll talk with you next week.
This is the Truth Network.